New CEO fired me despite my team generating 60% of company revenue. The board panicked when I fought back. The email notification flashed on my phone screen at exactly 8:17 a.m., the same time I'd been walking into the office for the past 7 years. My heart sank as I read the subject line, termination notice. I stood frozen in the middle of the company parking lot, the morning sun casting long shadows across the asphalt, while my mind struggled to process what my eyes were seeing. This couldn't be real, not after everything my team and I had built together. For the past 3 years, I'd led the digital innovation department, transforming it from a small experimental unit into the company's primary revenue generator. Our numbers spoke for themselves. 60% of the entire organization's revenue flowed directly from our initiatives. We weren't just meeting targets, we were shattering them quarter after quarter. From developing groundbreaking AI solutions to launching innovative customer engagement platforms, my team had become the engine that kept the company moving forward in an increasingly competitive market. What made this termination even more surreal was the timing. Only 3 weeks had passed since the new CEO, Mr. Harrison, took over. During those brief weeks, I'd barely interacted with him beyond a few superficial meetings where he nodded approvingly at our impressive metrics. Yet here I was, holding a termination notice that offered no explanation beyond vague phrases about restructuring and strategic realignment. As I stared at the email, memories flooded back of late nights spent brainstorming with my team, of celebrating breakthroughs that competitors thought impossible, of mentoring young talents who blossomed under our department's innovative culture. Each success had been hard-won, each milestone achieved through dedication and teamwork that went far beyond typical corporate commitment. And now, without warning or apparent cause, it was all being taken away. The injustice of the situation burned within me. How could the company dismiss someone who had consistently delivered such significant results? More importantly, how could they overlook the contributions of an entire department that had become so crucial to their success? As I stood there, gripping my phone tightly, a resolve began to form. This wasn't just about me anymore, it was about every member of my team who had poured their hearts into making this company thrive. I knew I couldn't simply walk away and let this decision stand unchallenged. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on my shoulders, not just for myself, but for everyone whose livelihood depended on our department's continued success. Something about this dismissal felt fundamentally wrong, and I realized I needed answers. More than that, I needed to fight back. But first, I had to understand what had led to this moment and why a new CEO would make such a drastic decision against his company's best interests. The early days of the digital innovation department felt like building a startup within a corporate giant. When I first took the helm, we occupied a small corner of the 3rd floor, with just 5 dedicated team members and a budget that barely covered our basic operational needs. Most of the company viewed us as an experiment, a calculated risk that might yield some interesting results but wasn't expected to significantly impact the bottom line. Little did they know that these modest beginnings would transform into something extraordinary. Our first major breakthrough came when we developed an AI-driven customer service solution that reduced response times by 75% while improving resolution rates by 40%. What started as a small pilot project quickly expanded across the company's operations, saving millions in operational costs while dramatically enhancing customer satisfaction. The success caught the attention of senior management, leading to increased funding and resources. Within a year, our team had tripled in size, and we moved into a larger, more modern workspace that reflected our growing importance within the organization. The following year brought perhaps our most significant achievement, the development of a predictive analytics platform that revolutionized our sales forecasting capabilities. By analyzing customer behavior patterns and market trends, we created algorithms that could predict purchasing decisions with unprecedented accuracy. This innovation transformed the company's sales strategy, enabling targeted marketing campaigns that boosted conversion rates by 65%. It was during this period that our department officially became the largest revenue contributor, surpassing even the established product lines that had historically driven the company's growth. Each success brought new challenges and opportunities. We launched a series of digital transformation workshops that not only improved internal processes, but also evolved into a profitable consulting service for other companies. Our mobile application development team created award-winning products that expanded the company's reach into untapped markets. Through strategic partnerships with tech startups, we maintained a constant stream of cutting-edge ideas that kept us ahead of industry trends. Perhaps most importantly, we fostered a unique departmental culture that attracted top talent from across the industry. Our open-door policy encouraged innovation at all levels, resulting in numerous employee-generated ideas that became successful projects. Regular hackathons and innovation challenges kept creativity flowing, while our mentorship program helped develop future leaders within the company. This vibrant ecosystem of ideas and talent became our greatest asset, creating a self-sustaining cycle of growth and success. By the time Mr. Harrison arrived as the new CEO, our department had grown to encompass over 200 employees, with satellite teams in 3 different countries. Our annual contributions to the company's revenue had steadily increased, reaching the remarkable figure of 60%. We had received multiple industry awards and had become a benchmark for digital innovation in our sector. The journey from that small experimental unit to becoming the company's primary growth driver was nothing short of remarkable, achieved through relentless dedication, strategic vision, and the collective effort of an exceptional team. Yet despite these achievements, there remained an underlying tension between our department and certain factions within traditional management. Some senior executives viewed our rapid growth and unconventional methods with suspicion, believing our success threatened the status quo. This resistance occasionally manifested in bureaucratic obstacles and attempts to limit our autonomy, but we always managed to overcome these challenges through demonstrated results and careful diplomacy. Looking back, these conflicts seemed like mere skirmishes compared to the battle that lay ahead with the new CEO's arrival. My first encounter with Mr. Harrison occurred during his initial tour of the company facilities. Unlike previous CEOs who typically spent hours engaging with department heads, he breezed through our floor in less than 15 minutes. His sharp suit and polished shoes seemed out of place among our casual work environment, where creativity often trumped corporate formality. When he finally stopped at my workstation, his handshake felt more like a perfunctory gesture than a genuine connection. During our brief introduction, Mr. Harrison's questions revealed a fundamental misunderstanding of our operations. He asked about cost-cutting measures in a department that thrived on strategic investment, and inquired about traditional workflows in an area defined by agile methodologies. His comments carried an undertone of skepticism about our unconventional approach, despite the undeniable success it had generated. The meeting ended with him nodding vaguely at our impressive metrics display, though his expression suggested he was merely humoring us. In the following weeks, subtle changes began to surface. New reporting requirements appeared, demanding detailed justifications for every initiative and expense. Long-standing approval processes were suddenly questioned, with requests for additional layers of bureaucracy that seemed designed to slow our momentum. When I scheduled a meeting to discuss these changes, Mr. Harrison's assistant kept rescheduling, eventually pushing our appointment to the last possible slot of the day. When we finally met, Mr. Harrison's demeanor confirmed my growing suspicions. His questions focused narrowly on immediate cost implications rather than long-term strategic value. He expressed concern about our department's disproportionate influence on company resources, seemingly blind to the fact that our contributions far exceeded our resource allocation. His references to streamlining operations and consolidating power structures hinted at a deeper agenda, one that viewed our success not as an asset, but as a threat to centralized control. The final straw came during a board presentation where I showcased our latest quarterly results. While the numbers spoke for themselves, Mr. Harrison interrupted with pointed questions about our team size and budget. His tone carried an unmistakable implication: our success was somehow inappropriate, our growth excessive. Other board members exchanged uneasy glances as he openly questioned whether our department's autonomy represented a structural imbalance within the company. In that moment, the writing was on the wall. Our achievements had made us targets rather than celebrated assets. The termination email hit me like a thunderclap, but it didn't break my spirit, it ignited it. Instead of accepting the decision quietly, I reached out to my closest allies within the company, Sarah from Legal, Michael in Finance, and Priya from HR. Together, we formed an informal council to examine the situation from every angle. Our first discovery was both shocking and telling. According to company bylaws, any termination of a department head generating more than 40% of revenue required board approval. Mr. Harrison had bypassed this crucial step, acting unilaterally in what appeared to be a clear violation of corporate governance protocols. Armed with this information, I requested an emergency meeting with the full board of directors. To their credit, several members responded immediately, sensing the gravity of the situation. During our initial discussions, I presented not just my case, but the case of my entire department. We compiled comprehensive data showing how our innovations had saved the company over $200 million in operational costs while opening new revenue streams worth 3 times that amount. More importantly, we highlighted how our success had enabled other departments to thrive, creating a symbiotic relationship that benefited the entire organization. The board's reaction was mixed but telling. While some members visibly squirmed under the weight of evidence, others nodded in agreement, clearly uncomfortable with Mr. Harrison's actions. Our financial analysis showed that terminating my position would likely trigger a mass exodus of key talent from the department, potentially costing the company up to 80% of its current revenue stream. The ripple effects would devastate not just our team, but the entire corporate structure that had come to depend on our innovations. As the board deliberated, I worked behind the scenes to strengthen our position. My team rallied together, documenting every project, every success metric, and every contribution to the company's growth. We created a detailed transition plan showing how easily our department could operate independently if necessary. Senior members prepared statements about their willingness to follow leadership they trusted, while junior staff gathered testimonials about the positive impact our work had on their careers and the company's future. The pressure mounted when major clients began contacting the company, expressing concern about recent leadership changes. Several key accounts explicitly stated that our department's innovations were crucial to their continued business partnership. These communications found their way to the boardroom, adding external validation to our internal arguments. Meanwhile, industry publications picked up rumors of turmoil at the company, causing stock prices to fluctuate and drawing unwanted media attention to the situation. Mr. Harrison attempted to counter these developments by questioning our loyalty and suggesting we were organizing some sort of corporate mutiny. However, his arguments lacked substance in the face of overwhelming evidence of our department's value. The more he pushed back, the more it became clear that his actions stemmed from insecurity rather than sound business judgment. His attempts to paint our resistance as insubordination ironically strengthened our position, as the board recognized the legitimacy of our concerns and the potential consequences of ignoring them. Throughout this escalating conflict, I maintained careful documentation of every interaction, every decision, and every consequence of Mr. Harrison's actions. Legal counsel advised us on proper procedures, ensuring that our response remained within corporate guidelines while maximizing our leverage. We prepared contingency plans for various scenarios, from negotiated settlements to worst-case outcomes, always keeping our team's welfare and the company's best interests at the forefront of our strategy. The atmosphere in the company shifted dramatically as news of the conflict spread. Employees from other departments began approaching me discreetly, sharing stories of how our innovations had positively impacted their work. Marketing teams credited our analytics tools with helping them secure major accounts. Sales divisions thanked us for providing insights that doubled their conversion rates. Even traditionally conservative departments like accounting acknowledged how our process optimizations had streamlined their operations and improved accuracy. This groundswell of support manifested in unexpected ways. During company-wide meetings, colleagues would subtly reference our department's contributions when discussing their own successes. Project managers began citing our tools and methodologies as essential components of their workflows. Even some of Mr. Harrison's appointed lieutenants privately admitted that their departments relied heavily on our innovations, though they feared repercussions for speaking out publicly. The interconnected nature of our achievements became increasingly apparent, revealing how deeply our department's success had woven itself into the company's fabric. As the situation escalated, I organized a series of informal gatherings, coffee breaks that turned into strategy sessions, lunch meetings that became collaborative brainstorming sessions. These encounters weren't just about gathering allies, they were about understanding the true scope of our department's impact. Through these conversations, we discovered that nearly every major company initiative in the past 3 years had incorporated elements of our work. The new product launch that had saved the manufacturing division? Powered by our predictive modeling. The customer retention program that had reversed declining subscription rates? Built on our behavioral analytics framework. The solidarity extended beyond professional boundaries. Personal stories emerged about how our department's success had affected individual lives. A single mother in the IT department shared how our flexible working tools had enabled her to balance career advancement with parenting responsibilities. A veteran employee nearing retirement age explained how learning our new systems had reinvigorated his passion for technology and secured his position in a changing industry. These narratives painted a picture of a department that wasn't just generating revenue, but transforming lives and careers throughout the organization. This collective awakening triggered a subtle but powerful shift in company dynamics. Managers who had previously kept their distance from our radical methods began incorporating our practices into their team's workflows. Junior employees started requesting transfers to our department, drawn by its reputation for innovation and opportunity. Even traditionally rival departments found themselves collaborating more closely, united by their dependence on our technologies and methodologies. The very fabric of corporate culture was evolving, with our department's influence spreading organically through the organization's structure. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The more Mr. Harrison tried to isolate and diminish our department, the more its significance became apparent. Like trying to remove a central pillar from a building, his efforts only highlighted how much of the company's foundation rested on our achievements. Every attempt to marginalize our work inadvertently showcased its critical importance, creating a feedback loop that strengthened our position while undermining his authority. As the conflict intensified, I found myself reflecting on the broader implications of this struggle. My parents, both teachers, had always emphasized the importance of standing up for what's right, regardless of personal consequences. Their lessons about integrity and perseverance echoed in my mind as I navigated this corporate battlefield. Growing up, I watched them advocate for better educational resources and fair treatment of colleagues, often facing resistance but never compromising their principles. Now, as I fought to protect my team and their achievements, I understood more deeply the courage it took to challenge authority when necessary. Professional mentors from earlier in my career had taught me valuable lessons about navigating corporate politics. Mrs. Thompson, my first manager, once told me that true leadership isn't about titles or positions, it's about responsibility and impact. Her words resonated as I considered how my department's success had touched so many lives within the company. Another mentor, Dr. Chun, had warned me about the dangers of complacency in corporate environments, encouraging me to always question the status quo and seek better solutions. Their wisdom guided my approach to this crisis, reminding me that sometimes fighting for what's right means challenging even the highest levels of authority. Looking at my own team, I saw reflections of these influences. Young engineers who had joined us straight out of college were now finding their voices, speaking up about the value of their work and the importance of protecting their achievements. Mid-career professionals who had initially doubted our unconventional methods were now staunch defenders of our approach, having witnessed firsthand how it drove success. These transformations mirrored my own professional journey, from cautious newcomer to confident leader, shaped by both personal values and professional experiences. The current situation forced me to confront difficult questions about leadership and responsibility. Was it enough to have achieved success, or did true leadership require defending those achievements against unjust threats? Could I claim to value my team's contributions while allowing those contributions to be dismissed or diminished? These questions weren't just theoretical, they demanded action, forcing me to weigh personal risks against organizational integrity. Each decision, each strategy, each conversation carried the weight of these considerations, shaping not just my response to this crisis but my understanding of what it truly meant to lead. The emotional toll of this battle manifested in unexpected ways. Late nights spent strategizing gave way to early mornings filled with anxiety about potential outcomes. Sleep became elusive, replaced by endless replays of boardroom confrontations and whispered conversations with concerned colleagues. Yet amidst this turmoil, moments of profound connection emerged. A junior developer bringing me coffee during a particularly stressful meeting, a senior executive discreetly offering support, even competitors reaching out to express admiration for our stance. These small acts of solidarity provided strength when doubt threatened to overwhelm. The stress wasn't confined to my personal experience. My team bore the brunt of the uncertainty, their anxiety manifesting in different ways. Some threw themselves into work with renewed intensity, attempting to prove their value through productivity. Others became withdrawn, fearing that their hard-earned positions might disappear overnight. Regular check-ins revealed a spectrum of emotions, from anger at the perceived injustice to fear about their professional futures. As their leader, I felt the weight of their hopes and fears pressing down on me, knowing that my decisions would shape not just my own path but theirs as well. Colleagues from other departments approached me with their own stories of stress and sleepless nights. The uncertainty rippling through the company affected everyone, from entry-level staff worried about job security to senior managers concerned about maintaining their team's momentum. Water cooler conversations turned into impromptu therapy sessions, with people sharing coping mechanisms and offering support. Some found solace in humor, using gallows wit to diffuse tension. Others sought comfort in numbers, forming unofficial support groups that met during lunch breaks or after hours. Through these shared experiences, a peculiar phenomenon emerged. The stress that threatened to divide us instead created unexpected bonds. People who had worked side by side for years without truly connecting found themselves opening up, sharing vulnerabilities that humanized their professional relationships. The shared adversity stripped away corporate facades, revealing authentic connections that proved more resilient than formal hierarchies. These organic networks of support became lifelines, sustaining morale during the most challenging moments. The emotional landscape of the conflict revealed complex layers of motivation and fear. For some, the fight became about preserving professional identities tied to our department's success. For others, it represented a stand against arbitrary authority and the erosion of merit-based recognition. Regardless of individual motivations, a common thread emerged, the recognition that this battle was about more than just jobs or titles. It was about validating the worth of hard work, innovation, and dedication in an environment that suddenly seemed determined to devalue these qualities. As the drama unfolded, industry observers began taking notice of our situation. Tech blogs and business journals published speculative articles about the unusual circumstances surrounding the conflict. Venture capital firms, intrigued by our department's track record, started discreet inquiries about potential spin-off opportunities. Competitors, sensing vulnerability, began aggressively recruiting our talent, promising better conditions and greater autonomy. The media attention brought both opportunities and challenges, forcing us to carefully manage public perception while maintaining our focus on resolving the internal crisis. Industry analysts weighed in with commentary that added fuel to the fire. Prominent figures in the tech community expressed surprise at the company's apparent willingness to dismantle its most successful division. Industry panels discussed the broader implications of our situation, debating whether traditional corporate structures could effectively manage modern innovation teams. These discussions elevated our department's profile beyond its immediate corporate context, positioning us as a case study in managing high-performing technological units within conventional business frameworks. The attention from venture capitalists proved particularly interesting. Several firms proposed scenarios where our department could operate independently, backed by substantial funding. These offers carried serious weight, representing tangible alternatives to our current predicament. Private equity groups speculated about acquiring our team and intellectual property outright, viewing the situation as an opportunity to capture proven talent and technology. While tempting, these possibilities raised complex questions about loyalty, legacy, and the future direction of our work. Competitors, meanwhile, adopted more aggressive tactics. Headhunters contacted key team members with increasingly attractive offers, some including significant signing bonuses and equity stakes. Professional networking sites lit up with messages from rival companies seeking to poach our talent. Industry conferences featured panel discussions about our situation, with speakers from competing firms openly extending invitations to join their organizations. The pressure on our team members grew intense, as they weighed their loyalty against potentially career-defining opportunities elsewhere. This external attention created a delicate balancing act. While it strengthened our negotiating position internally, it also increased the stakes of the conflict. The possibility of mass defections became a realistic threat, one that could cripple the company's operations overnight. At the same time, the public scrutiny prevented Mr. Harrison from acting too hastily or heavy-handedly, as any misstep could damage the company's reputation in the marketplace. The situation evolved into a complex game of corporate chess, with moves and countermoves playing out across multiple fronts simultaneously. As the conflict entered its second month, patterns began emerging that illuminated deeper truths about corporate power dynamics. Historical precedents showed that similar situations often arose when traditional leadership clashed with innovative departments. Companies that successfully navigated these challenges typically did so by creating hybrid structures that balanced established protocols with emerging methodologies. Those that failed often experienced prolonged periods of stagnation or even collapse, unable to reconcile past successes with future opportunities. Strategic analyses revealed that our situation wasn't unique, but part of a broader trend affecting established corporations. Traditional businesses struggling to adapt to digital transformation frequently encountered friction between old guard leadership and new paradigm teams. The success rate of these transitions correlated strongly with the ability of leadership to embrace change rather than resist it. Companies that flourished maintained clear channels of communication between innovative units and executive leadership, fostering mutual understanding rather than adversarial relationships. The economic implications extended beyond our immediate circumstances. Industry reports indicated that companies maintaining strong innovation departments while preserving traditional operations enjoyed higher market valuations and better long-term stability. Conversely, organizations that sacrificed innovation for short-term efficiency gains often faced declining competitiveness and eroded market positions. Our department's 60% revenue contribution represented more than just current success. It symbolized the company's future viability in an increasingly digital marketplace. These patterns suggested that our conflict wasn't merely about personalities or immediate decisions, but reflected fundamental choices about the company's direction. The outcome would determine whether the organization could evolve into a modern enterprise capable of sustaining growth in changing markets, or whether it would remain anchored to outdated management paradigms. Every move in this chess game carried implications far beyond personal careers or departmental survival, shaping the very DNA of the company for years to come. The unfolding drama transformed from a personal battle into a crucible that tested the company's core values. As evidence mounted about the systematic disregard for merit-based achievement, employees across all levels began questioning the organization's commitment to its stated mission of innovation and excellence. The contrast between our documented successes and Mr. Harrison's actions exposed fundamental inconsistencies in how the company rewarded performance and recognized value. This cognitive dissonance forced everyone to confront uncomfortable truths about whether the organization truly practiced what it preached. The situation illuminated glaring gaps between corporate rhetoric and reality. Public statements about embracing change and rewarding innovation clashed with internal policies that seemed designed to maintain traditional power structures. Performance review systems that theoretically valued results were being overridden by subjective judgments that prioritized conformity over contribution. The disconnect between official company values and actual practices became increasingly apparent, creating a crisis of faith among employees who had believed in the organization's commitment to progress. This values test extended beyond immediate stakeholders. Clients and partners began reassessing their relationships with the company, questioning whether its leadership changes signaled a retreat from its innovative roots. Industry analysts started speculating about the company's ability to maintain its competitive edge without the driving force of its most successful department. The situation evolved into a referendum on whether the organization would remain true to its identity as a forward-thinking enterprise or succumb to pressures favoring short-term control over long-term growth. Every decision point in this conflict became a referendum on corporate integrity. Would the company prioritize immediate authority maintenance over sustained success? Could it reconcile traditional management approaches with modern innovation requirements? These questions transcended individual careers or departmental politics, touching the very essence of what the organization stood for and how it would position itself in an evolving marketplace. The outcome would define not just the future of our department but the fundamental character of the company itself. The boardroom was tense as the directors filed in for the emergency meeting. I stood at the front, flanked by Sarah from legal and Michael from finance, our evidence neatly organized on the table. Mr. Harrison sat at the far end, his polished demeanor now tinged with unease. As I presented our case, highlighting the bylaw violations, the financial risks of dismantling my department, and the overwhelming support from employees and clients, the room grew quieter. Board members exchanged glances, their discomfort palpable. When Mr. Harrison tried to defend his actions, citing strategic realignment, one of the senior directors interrupted him. "Strategic realignment doesn't mean cutting off the branch we're sitting on," she said sharply. The tide had turned. By the end of the meeting, the board voted unanimously to reinstate me and place temporary restrictions on Mr. Harrison's decision-making authority until a full review could be conducted. But the victory wasn't just about saving my position. In the weeks that followed, the company underwent significant changes. A new governance committee was formed to ensure transparency, and many of my team's innovative practices were adopted company-wide. Mr. Harrison eventually resigned, unable to adapt to the evolving culture he had underestimated. For me, this battle became more than a fight for survival. It was a lesson in resilience, leadership, and the power of standing up for what's right. My team emerged stronger, united not just by success but by shared adversity. And while scars remained, they served as reminders of how far we'd come, and how much further we could go when we refused to back down.